What's up, everybody? This is Chris from Rooted. I'm really pumped today to talk with you about the best finger exercise on piano. Now, if you're like a lot of people and like me when I was a student growing up, maybe all of your fingers aren't equally as strong or as quick or as consistent whenever you play. Maybe your pinky is really weak. Maybe your middle finger and thumb are the strongest, and you kind of avoid some of the other fingers. I see a lot of students whenever I teach and whenever I coach, and even just in general, just seeing people play piano, you see a lot of beginners and students with not quite as much of the ability to play with other fingers. You use like 2 or 3 fingers at best. And that really hinders you from playing any harder styles of music or any more intricate styles of music if you're not able to use all your fingers. If you don't feel confident that when you go into a song or when you go into a piece that you can play accurately and evenly with all of your fingers. And there's one finger exercise that I know of that does an amazing job of helping your fingers all be equally consistent, equally strong, and equally as quick. It's going to build strength, durability. It's going to help you have more stamina whenever you're playing. It's going to build speed. Every bit of your piano playing is going to excel and get better because of this one exercise. So I'm really pumped to share it with you today, and it's called the Hanon exercise. So there's not just one exercise. I kind of made that a little bit unclear before. There are actually 50 Hanon exercises in this book of Hanon exercises, okay? There's so many exercises you can get into, but the first one is really great, and it just kind of sets your course then for the rest of the exercises that you can do. So you could honestly be doing these finger exercises from this guy Hanon for years, and they're all within the context of the key of C. So if you know the key of C, if you know the C scale, and you know the notes in the key of C, you're good. You can play all of these finger exercises. They're just adaptations of the 5-finger scale or even 6-note scale within the key of C. And they're really great. They work both your left hand and your right hand. They're incredible. And again, they're all within the context of the key of C, so there's not a whole lot of sharping and flatting. As you get down the road, if you ever finished any one of these 50, all of these 50 exercises, you could just take them to another key. You could then try to go back to exercise 1 and take exercise 1 and go through the key of G. So when you look at these exercises, you could be doing these for the rest of your life. Even if you're 10 years old or 55 years old, it doesn't matter how old you are, you could be doing these exercises daily from the time that you're taking piano now forever. I mean, you can do these a lifelong time. They're incredible exercises, and they're going to constantly make you a better player. So I want to share with you exercise number 1 and just get you started, and hopefully you'll see some results out of this. Maybe the first one will be tricky. It'll be difficult to play with all your fingers if you're not used to that, but hopefully you'll see some positive results here in the short term, okay? So here's where you want to start. On a piano, whenever you're looking at all of your keys, if you have an 88 key keyboard, whether it's a keyboard or an acoustic piano, whatever it is, you want to start with your right hand on C number 3, okay? So you want to go to the far left of the keyboard, find the first C, and then go to the second, and then go to the third, and that's where your right hand is going to start, okay? So right hand starts on C number 3, and this scale is a 2-octave scale, meaning you're going to encompass 2 more C's on the piano. You're going to start at C3, you're going to end around C number 5, and then come backwards through the scale. And so here's what your right hand's going to do. Your right hand's going to play C with your thumb. Maybe you want to just pause the video and try that for a second. In a minute, I'm going to show you a video of how you're actually going to do this, so you get an actual accurate visual of this. But I want to explain it. So if you've seen the visual and you want to go back to the explanation of how this all works, just to play through it as I'm explaining it to you, then you have that. So you got your thumb on C number 3. The next note you're going to play, you're going to skip D. And the next note you'll play is an E with your pointer finger, okay? So it's a little bit different. Typically, you have your fingers spanned out where each finger has its own note, and they're right next to each other, so your 5 fingers would span from C through G. Well, this isn't going to be the case right now. Your thumb and pinky are going to span a 6th interval from C all the way up to A, okay? So you got C with your thumb, you got E with your index finger, and then, so once you play the C and the E, then your middle finger would play F, your ring finger would play G, your pinky would play A, and then you'd go back down the same way you came, all the way down to E with your pointer, and then your thumb will move up to D. Okay, so we'll go back through that again. Your thumb's going to play C, pointer on E, middle finger F, ring finger G, pinky A, walk it back down the same way you came down to E, and then your thumb will move up to D. And then your index finger is going to span out another 2 notes again. So your thumb's playing D, then your pointer is playing F, and then you got G with your middle finger, A with your ring finger, B with your pinky, and then back down the way you came down to F. Then your thumb moves up to E, and so hopefully by this point you kind of get the idea of the pattern. You're starting on C and you're moving up sequentially, and you're going to do that for a full 2 octaves, okay? And so then at the point where you get to your B, you're about to hit the 2nd octave right around middle C. There's a little bit of a turnaround point where you're going to be playing the last part of the, as you increase up the scale, and then where you're going to make a U-turn and come back down the scale. And as you come back down the scale, your right hand pinky works, and as you descend down the scale, that works the exact same way as it worked going up as you ascended. Your pinky is going to be on a G above middle C. Your ring finger would be on an E, so you're skipping a note between your pinky and your ring finger, okay? And then you just walk all the way down to your thumb and then back up, and then your pinky will come on F and so forth. So I know that may be a little bit tricky to like mentally process as you're listening to me say that. Try and go over to a piano, maybe pause the video while I was explaining that, go back and watch some of that, and go to a piano and kind of walk through some of that as I'm explaining it. And then hopefully that'll make it a little bit easier to get through. Again, in a minute, I'm going to show you video so it'll all make total sense as you do this. The next piece you're going to do is your left hand. And for now, I would recommend keeping your hands separate, okay? So the next piece is your left hand. Your left hand is going to start with its pinky on C number 2. So pinky on C number 2. And you're going to do the exact same thing as you did going up, just with your left hand fingers kind of going pinky to thumb instead of thumb to pinky like you did in your right hand. So your pinky would be on C number 2. Your ring finger would then play that next E, and then your middle on F, index on G, thumb on A, walk it back down to your 4th finger, and then your pinky moves up to D, and you do the same thing. Again, you're going to ascend 2 octaves, and then you're going to come back down, same idea, coming back down, okay? So here is a video of us playing the full hand and exercise 2 octaves, both hands at the same time, right and left hand. So the higher notes are going to be played with the right hand. The lower notes are played with the left hand. And this is a quarter note speed, okay? So we're going to be playing this hand and exercise at 60 beats per minute. And what you're about to see right here is quarter note speed. So take a look, and I want you just to get a visual for what's happening. All right, so I hope that made sense. I hope you enjoyed watching that hand-in exercise at 60 beats a minute. That was quarter note speed. So basically we're playing a new note with each click of the metronome, okay? So at home, what you would want to do is you would want to set your metronome to 60 beats per minute, and that's where Hannon says to start. He wants you to work up each exercise from 60 beats per minute up to 108 beats per minute, okay? So we're going to go from pretty slow to pretty quick, okay? So that's quarter note speed. That's the first level of your practice. The next level would be moving up to eighth notes. Okay, so eighth notes, if you're familiar, are twice the speed of quarter notes. So now with the click, you're going to be playing 2 notes for every click of the metronome. Okay, so we did eighth note speed. I want you to check it out right here and see how that looks. All right, perfect. So I hope that made some sense for you. Again, I hope it just further clarified what the eighth note speed really looks like. You're hitting 2 notes in the span of 1 click with your metronome. We're still at 60 beats per minute. We're just playing eighth notes. Now, the final tier of this, the next piece of your practice would involve what are called 16th notes, and that's ultimately what Hannon wants you to practice. These exercises are written in 16th notes, okay? So you're actually playing 4 times the speed of whatever click you're at. So if you're at 60 beats a minute, multiply 60 times 4, and you're really playing 240 beats a minute, okay? And so what we did was we gradually brought you through quarter note aspects of it, so you could just get the feel for it, do it really slow, just get comfortable, then move to your eighth note speed, where it's a little bit more challenging. You're trying to make sure that you can go double the speed of the click. Now what you're going to do is go 4 times the speed of the click, okay? So that's what we want to show you right now. Here's a video of us playing the Hannon all the way up and all the way down at 16th note speed at 60 beats per minute, okay? Take a look. And that's it, y'all. That's it. That's 60 beats per minute at 16th note speed. Now, if you're able to master that, Then what you'd want to do is up your metronome by 5 clicks and move to 65 at still 16th note speed and see if you can do that perfectly. If you can do that really well, then bump it up to 70. And ultimately, your goal is to bump up by 5 beats per minute each time, all the way up to 108 beats per minute. And if you're able to do that really fluently, really well, without any misses or any kind of tempo shifts up or down, then you're ready for exercise 2. And these hand and exercise books can easily be purchased anywhere on Amazon, or you can just go to your local music store. More than likely would have this type of book where you could go through every exercise. But this is the first one to get you going. And as you practice, here are a couple things I want you to remember as you're playing. Just like any piece of music, you want to make sure that your hands and your fingers are curled, your palms are level with the keys, and you're not running any notes together. That's one of the biggest things about this exercise, is you really want evenness. Obviously, you want to follow in line with the metronome, but you want distinctness in your notes. You want your fingers to be utilized really well. You want to make sure that each note's coming out really clearly and that you're not having any bleed through, any notes run into each other. So you don't want to leave your thumb down when you're playing your E, where you have a C and E bleed into each other, right? You want to still be slurring the notes, playing them smoothly, but you want the notes to be distinct. You don't want notes running together. So as you practice this exercise, hopefully you want to start at quarter note speed. Then you want to, if you can do that, then I would bump up to 8th note speed and then move up to 16th note speed if you're able to do that. And as you practice, make sure your notes are distinct, make sure your fingers are curled, make sure you're right in line with the tempo, because what this is doing is it's working out your strength, your stamina, your durability, and your ability to play evenly throughout every single finger in your hands. Alrighty, so as you practice that, keep those things in mind. Make sure that you're right in line with the metronome. Make sure that your fingers are curled, notes are distinguished, and it's feeling very comfortable. You don't feel like you just, on a whim, maybe got it right this one time, but you couldn't really do it again. You know what I mean? You want to be able to do this right a few times in a row. And as you get started, your hands and your wrists are going to get tired. Just know that. They're not going to be used to playing this kind of 2-octave scale at those speeds. And so just take your time getting into it. I would recommend, ultimately, practicing this through maybe 5 to 10 times each time that you sit down to practice. That's ultimately going to be a great endpoint for you to get to, but maybe at first you're doing it once or twice a day and that's it. You're just kind of getting the idea, you're getting the ball rolling. But over time, try and do it more, maybe 2 to 4 times and then 3 to 5 times a day, and just move it up from there as you move up the tempo as well. This exercise has the power to make your playing so even, make your notes so distinguishable, and just give you full access over all of your fingers. That's why I love this exercise so much. This hand in number 1. And the beauty of it is that there's more. Once you learn number 1, go ahead and learn number 2 and start getting started on that at 60 beats per minute. Work it up to 108 and then go to 3. I have students working at all levels of these hand and exercises, and it makes such a difference in their playing, whether they're beginner or whether they're advanced. And it's just incredible exercise that I know will be a game changer for you in your piano playing. So feel free to reach out if you have any questions. I'd love to help you think through some of this stuff, but go ahead and give it a try. Get started on it. It's not something that's too terribly challenging as you first get started. And it's something that you could do in 5 minutes as you get started. And it's just a little exercise to get started on, and you'll be surprised as you keep going through and grow and grow and grow that the next few exercises, once you get to exercise 5 or 6 or 7, you're able to work up pretty quickly to like 100 beats a minute in just a couple weeks. It won't take you months to do this anymore. You'll be able to work up fast, and that's what I've seen out of my students. They get better, their fingers get stronger, their stamina grows, and they're just ultimately an all-around better player. So give this a shot today. Let me know what you think, and I hope you really enjoy going through this. Thanks so much for joining us today. Hope you all have a great week.